Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the In Stride Podcast. Alex, Nathan, and I talk about what diabetes may have given us and what diabetes may have taken away in our lives living with the condition, and whether or not we would give it all back for a life without type 1 diabetes. If you're finding these podcasts interesting or useful, please drop us a like or a follow on any of our social media platforms and check out our website to learn more. Additionally, we have created the InStride T1D subreddit to start building our community and sharing our collective experiences overcoming challenges with all things type 1 diabetes. You can find this subreddit under InStride_T1D on Reddit. Join us there in addition to our other social media channels. On to the episode.
All right, let's do this, guys. So here we are again, the In Stride Podcast with Justin, Alex, and myself. And we were chatting about what we wanted to discuss tonight. And, you know, one of my favorite conversations is this idea that I've in this conversation I've had with a lot of my friends that have type 1 diabetes. And it's one of those, like, has the chronic disease that you've lived with given you more or taken more away from your life? And so really it kind of leads into this idea of, like, would you give it back? You know, it's like diabetes is a huge suck and it costs a lot of money. But man, as we're sitting here talking with my two good friends, Justin and Alex, and we've, you know, over the last handful of podcasts been talking about bike racing and travel, and, you know, Alex being in Belgium racing at the elite level with Fabian Cancellara. And it's just like, man, have you had those experiences without the type 1 diabetes diagnosis? And I know with myself, I've got so many things that I've gotten to do, so many people that I call great friends, that I would have never had or gotten to experience without this crappy diagnosis that is type 1 diabetes. So I want to break that down and chat with the boys and see what they think as far as, like, has diabetes taken more away from you, or is it giving you more in life? And, you know, at the end of this, I want to know, would you give it back? So I don't know who wants to start. Have you guys given that?
I'm gonna start.
The things that diabetes has given you. I mean, I can just go on and on. Like, diabetes has completely shaped my whole life. And when you think of it on that level, you go, damn, I've gotten to do some pretty awesome things. And I can get into some of the details.
Well, yeah. Well, so you posted this in our little chat, you know, as like a little preface to what you were thinking about for the week, and it really got me thinking. And I was like, Justin, you're probably in a similar spot. I mean, we probably all are, given how long we've all had type 1, but it's really hard to say what it's given versus taken away just because of how long I've had it. And I will say, though, that it has been such a big, cool part of my life because of cycling, because of all these other things, that, spoiler, I probably wouldn't give it back because it's shaped who I am. You know, like, I don't know, maybe we can really dive into this stuff. I'm just spitballing and thinking out loud here. Like, about the only thing that I can realistically think that diabetes might have taken away from me, maybe two things. A handful of times of being very frustrated talking to insurance companies because they suck. And then the other thing being that, like, we're young enough that you kind of lose a little bit of the innocence of childhood because you have to be so mature and, like, take care of yourself. But is that a bad thing? I think so. You know?
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about this stress is enhancing, right? This stress is enhancing research that's coming out. And, you know, when you hit yourself up against difficult stuff in life, and, you know, you use that as an opportunity to grow and become somebody more than you were before that hard thing hit up against you, or that you had to overcome. And diabetes is such an awesome example of that. And I mean, I know for me, like, I think about just, okay, what if I raced my bike at the level or as long as I did without diabetes? And the answer is clearly no. I mean, I was pretty much, after college, done racing bikes, but I came across Team Type 1, and that put me into this opportunity to do Race Across America. And so I was like, okay, that's cool. That'll give me a reason to keep training and keep racing bikes. And it gave me extra motivation and a reason to do it, right? Because now I'm not just racing bikes to become a fast Cat 1 racer. I'm racing bikes because it actually meant something. It actually, showed other people that like, hey, you can still do the things that you want to do even with this chronic disease. And that was really a fun message to be a part of. And so, number one, I got to race my bike longer than I would have otherwise. And I got to race in some pretty freaking cool races that I would have never done, like Race Across America. And that was such a cool experience that I'm glad I had and I can take with me. And then, that leads to the next thing. I mean, there's jobs that I've had working for coaching and consulting firms in California. One was called Peak Learning, which is the science is all around human endeavor. And we took that into the corporate world and worked with like Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies. Think AT&T and FedEx and these companies, and we got to go and lead programs. And it was all around human endeavor. And what I was able to do with diabetes and bike racing opened up the opportunity to work at that firm. The founder and principal of that firm is still one of my best friends today, one of my surf buddies from California. And man, those are just rich life opportunities that, like, hell no, man, I would not give diabetes back. Like, yeah, the insurance sucks, like having to deal and manage like getting your supplies and getting your stuff, and there's a cost which totally sucks. And but man, it's again something you've got to put your head down and figure out and navigate through. But thinking about like all the cool experiences and activities and work that I've gotten to do because of this crappy disease, it's been a total blessing. Crazy.
No, I agree with both of you here. And I'm probably in a very similar boat to Alex with, yes, being diagnosed very young, you do lose the innocence of childhood very quickly, which looking back on, I mean, I also it just existed that way for me since I was diagnosed before I even remember. So childhood's just out the door. Or maybe I'm still in childhood. I don't know. But
I mean, we still have some cool childhood.
True.
We just had to be like a little bit more responsible than the other idiot 12-year-olds.
No,
or, whatever.
100%. Yeah. And I think, especially with the three of us, the one thing that we are who we are, not necessarily because of diabetes, but the way we approach diabetes and the way diabetes was presented to us, and this mindset of like not being burdened by it, but using it to the best of our advantage and like understanding there's highs and lows, pun intended, to the whole life with diabetes. And yeah, sometimes it sucks a lot. Like dealing with insurance. Like right now I have like 4 or 5 pump sites left and I have to get a new refill, and I just don't want to have to go through the process of dealing with insurance, dealing with the distributor, like this whole ordeal. And I've really only got like a week or two to figure this out, or I don't have any pump sites left. So it's like I have a timeline, but the opportunity that having this mindset and like, I won't want to say being forced into this mindset, but having a lot of push both from my body and the way I wanted to live my life to like adopt this really like forward thinking opportunity in like using stress as enhancing, stress as an opportunity to like learn more about yourself and become a better person is all a result of having diabetes. And at this point in my life, I also wouldn't want to give it back because I've been able to do so much cool stuff purely because of this mindset that did come from having diabetes and living with diabetes, but I don't think it's necessarily like inherent with diabetes, as we have all kind of come to see and agree with, and the reason InStride exists, right? But this is kind of a ramble now since I've just been yapping, but the opportunities I've had in life, in racing, in travel, in like working with brands, working with different companies that I just never would have thought about. I don't even know what I would have been doing if I didn't have diabetes. I'd probably just be a deadbeat. Like I had a sense of purpose.
I doubt that.
I don't know. Maybe we won't ever know. So
can't prove a negative. So yeah, I think we just got to assume that Justin without diabetes is deadbeat Justin.
Deadbeat Justin. I can deal with that. But this like always using, I mean, like I grew up in a small town in Texas, like opportunity to like move and expand your horizon wasn't really right there. Granted, my parents were pretty worldly, so like I think there would have been some of that like when I was growing up in grade school, but the self motivation to just get out and do it being whatever I wanted to do. So like 110% of my ability comes from diabetes and comes from life with diabetes, and yeah, I wouldn't give it back for that at all.
So I had a thought as you were going through this your story there, and story ramble, vent.
Tomato.
I'm just going to assume here that diabetes has also helped how we frame stressful events. Like what I was initially going to say when you were talking about how you only have like a week or two left of pump sites, and how Nathan was talking about earlier, like needing more Dexcoms because back on finger sticks for a little while, and how literally a month ago I was like, wow, I have 3 Omnipods left. I haven't seen the doctor in nearly long enough time. I gotta get on this. I'm like, first thought was, are we all just like the same person in like different locations here? But got me thinking, that is a really, in a normal circumstance, a stressful endeavor or a stressful situation like that. Like, hey, you could literally die if you don't have this stuff, and you only have a short time frame to figure it out. Like, that is an inherently stressful thing. But I think just having had diabetes for 20, 30 years, we've been able to like learn how to approach those stressful things with like, you know what? It will all be fine. We just have to break down the problem, think about it, and solve it piece by piece. I mean, because we all just have the exact same experience within about a month of one another. Like,
yeah, no, I think you guys talking about that, it's like that diabetes, the way we've approached it and the way we've learned how to use it as fuel for our success, especially tying it to bike racing, right? Bike racing has been such a benefit for all of us because we've been able to have those little moments of like stressful moments and then overcome them and realize like, oh wait, now I know more and I'm better because of that thing that just happened. And I think you do that over and over and over again. You really, it galvanizes this mindset of like, oh wow, when I get hit with a stressor, it's actually going to make me better when I get through the other side. When I figure it out, it's going to make me a better person. I'm going to actually be more equipped because of that thing. And I think you do that for 18 years of living with diabetes and being an athlete, or having type 1 diabetes and just whatever, doing life. It galvanizes that stress is enhancing mindset to where then when some other thing hits you, you're ready for it. You're like, cool, bring it. I'm kind of excited to see what this thing's going to do for me. And I'm actually leading this conversation into, my cancer experience. Like when I got diagnosed with cancer, I had a very different response to cancer than I think everybody else does. Like I had this weird, like, oh wow, this is like, it was super hyper focused on the situation. But I will tell you, I did not have a pissed off bummer experience. I was kind of actually in a weird, I didn't say it, but I like had this weird sense of excitement because I like had something really important to take care of. Yeah. And I don't think I could have had that experience had I not had all those moments with type 1 diabetes for the last 30 years and those little like just getting hit and overcoming stressors. And then, like I said, it galvanized that mindset of like stress is enhancing. And then, like I was saying just a minute ago, I worked for this business coaching and consulting firm diving into human endeavor. So, one of the books that my buddy wrote was The Adversity Advantage, right? So it goes deep, and my whole it just goes into my DNA of like how I feel about these things. But yeah, my point is like all those experiences really galvanize that the way I respond to the tough stuff. And like I said, I had a weird kind of like, it sucked, but it was also this kind of like interesting like feeling of excitement for trying to figure out, the next 6 months of fighting this thing.
Yeah, I think
it's weird. I don't like to share that because I feel so silly talking about it.
No, but I mean, in that same vein, like I think it's interesting to point out, right, like how we can generally approach things, and I think it's also important to make it clear, right? Like I, for example, recently have just been super busy and like chasing a toddler around the house, and like things have been absolutely hectic, and so just because having diabetes doesn't mean I'm not getting like overwhelmed and like insanely stressed out, or like, just in my head about things at different times. But where I'm going with this is like diabetes has almost become like an educational / training tool that makes you think. Like every time your blood sugars go high, you have to think about like, okay, well, what's going on? Is it my pump set that's bad? Did I miss bolus? Like you always have to like look retroactively and say, what happened that got me into the spot that I'm in now? And Nathan, that kind of seems like it ties into where what you're saying with your cancer diagnosis. Like, okay, this happened. You start looking at like, where am I? What's the situation? What do I need to do to solve this in the future? Or I guess in your case, it's probably like right now. But as we look at it with diabetes, like how do we make sure this doesn't happen next time? And same thing with me. If I get a little bit, intense, right? Like trying to like get Clara to stop just throwing peanut butter all over the house or something, right? I recognize like, hey, did I react how I wanted to react? Yes or no? If the answer is no, what caused me to react this way? Let's look at these things, and then like over time, start to get better and better and better. And I attribute a lot of that to just having done it every single day, hours on end, all the time with type 1. Like I'm still nowhere close to good at it, but
yeah, see, that's my point, man. So like diabetes, because you've had to deal with it for so long, it just has given you an amazing framework to just do life with. It's been a great training tool.
No, 100%. Allows you to be, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off here, but it like kind of to piggyback off, but what both of you guys are saying, it allows you to be hypercritical and analyze these obstacles, if we even want to call it that. Might be a very vague word for anything that comes up in life, whether it's cancer or Clara throwing peanut butter over the house. It allows you, like all of the experience we've had with diabetes, because it's been the day-to-day for so long for us, and we've had this mindset of using these challenges, these hurdles, these whatever they are, day to day. Anything else that happens outside of our world of diabetes is like easy peasy. Like that's like we can think very critically and analytically about these things and progress through them in a more or less pretty efficient manner for our own being. Maybe it's not like the most efficient manner to get through this, but like it makes sense in our head to like take this challenge, take this obstacle, break it apart, figure out what has happened, what needs to happen, and then like you kind of already have this like mindset and this track to follow in your head to get to whatever the other side is. Easy, right?
Yeah, and I think like you hit the real quick here, Nathan. I was gonna say I think I misqualified diabetes in an earlier thing I said. I said, oh, it gave me this opportunity or whatever. We'll hear it back in the recording. But that was probably the wrong way to phrase it, right? Because it is, I think the better way is like kind of just as you were alluding to, it's that tool that we use. It's that like, diabetes didn't give me the ability to ride a bike, but it gave me the mindset to think about how to do it to the goal. But sorry, Nathan, I cut you off there. But I didn't want to lose that train of thought because I felt like it was...
No, I like that. I'm thinking about like this. We've used this word, this term, stress is enhancing, a lot. And what does that mean, right? What does it mean? Stress is enhancing, and using diabetes as an example. And what comes to mind is what I see that meaning is when you bump up against a challenge that you have to overcome, you actually, in order for you to overcome that, you have to unlock potential inside of yourself. And when you do unlock that potential that is inside of yourself to overcome the thing that you just bumped up against, you become somebody better than you were before the thing, right? Because now you've unlocked this like potential inside of you. And if you keep doing that, you just keep unlocking more potential. And that's like, Alex, you have a little daughter, and I have kids as well. And what is our job as parents? But it's to helping to guide them towards their potential, right? It's like where they're at when they're 3, learning how to ride a bike, you're unlocking that hidden potential inside of her to develop those skills to become somebody better than she was when she was 2. And that's just like so exciting. And that's, what this stress is enhancing language really means to me. It's like, hey, bump up against stuff. And then you have to, unlock hidden potential inside of yourself to be able to handle it. Okay, be able to, and then once you unlock that, you got it. Like that's now part of you. And you keep doing that, and you're going to just become the person I guess you should be.
Yeah, there's this concept in the software world, like agile, and that's a whole discussion for a whole time, right? But you like oftentimes you do these 2-week sprints or whatever. We're not gonna go into the nuances on whether those are good or bad. But one of the things I've always really liked that I think a lot of engineers are a little bit more iffy than me about are these things called retrospectives, right? So basically, you say, okay, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, however, whatever frequency, the whole team gets into a virtual meeting room, and we say what went well, what didn't go well, what do we need to do to make things better. And I feel like I've always liked them because that's pretty much just every day of our lives in general. And the cool part about it is like it's blameless, at least in theory, right? Like, hey, you know what? I might have made a major mistake, but it might get brought up in that retro, but it's not a, hey, Alex, you royally screwed that up. It's a, hey, we should put more protections in place to make sure that like these accidents can't happen. And that's kind of the same process I feel like we go through all the time with diabetes. And like you said, the exact same thing I want to start teaching Clara is, you know what? We're all going to screw up. We're going to screw up probably 50 times a day, depending on how you want to qualify the word screwing up. But the other thing you can really do is you go look at it, figure out what happened, and figure out what you want to do differently next time. And I don't know, I think for me that really talks to that unlocking potential because I think that it applies, physically, mentally, all of the above, and it, definitely a lesson learned through managing type 1.
Heck yeah. I think that's it. Okay, so what I'm getting is nobody would give it back.
At this point, no, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah, both because of the experiences I've had,
Yeah.
because of this mindset, and because of the position I'm in now, to be able to share this mindset and like hopefully help other people that are also living with diabetes, like be able to do whatever the heck they want. Like that is the coolest feeling in the world. Whatever it is you want to do, maybe it's like just play chess competitively at a really high level, or go race your bike, or go climb Mount Everest. Having this mindset of you can do whatever, conquer the world, even with diabetes or something else that might be preconceived as being in the way, that's huge. And I don't want to give that up ever.
I'd almost give a slightly different answer. Like, I could not care less at this point about having type 1, right? Like, I have it. I've had it for a long time. I don't mind having it. It's what I know. If it just disappeared off the face of the earth, that wouldn't be the end of the world because nobody's dealing with it. Nobody's going to have those stressors. Like then I can get rid of those little bits of stress that annoy me just enough that and I have the same lessons that I've learned. But since that's not going to be the case, I'm going to say I don't need to get rid of it for any sense.
I like that vision. I like that. I'll take it for the last 30 years, but if it went away tomorrow and I got to keep all those experiences, then yeah, that's take it away. That's fine. I'd be happy to not have to deal with the headache. But I want to hang on to everything that it's given me. Can I have? So it's I want my cake and I want to eat it too here.
Yeah.
Wait, we have diabetes. I don't think we're supposed to have cake.
Oh shoot!
If you have a bunch of cinnamon, it cancels it out.
Oh, right. We forgot that in our hacks thing. Guys, I eat an entire bowl of cinnamon every day, and I haven't given myself insulin for 45 years.
Jeez.
If you think I'm not even 40, I'm not even in my 40s.
So cinnamon, so I think cinnamon does work. I think cinnamon does actually help with insulin sensitivity, and I think apple cider vinegar does too. There's some research around that. You guys should dig into it. But I mean, you're type 1 diabetic. Is it going to move the needle? Probably not. But I think it can help with some insulin sensitivity. I find that I'm more sensitive to the insulin I'm giving myself if I eat cinnamon or apple cider vinegar. So that's my thought.
All right.
Okay. All right. You may have just ruined the biggest diabetes meme of all times.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't cure diabetes, but it might help it.
That's what I always. It's funny. I love this because people always make the joke about how everybody always says cinnamon, and they're like ha ha ha. And then Nathan bringing in the facts of it actually might work.
So here's the funny part. It's if you're putting cinnamon on your oatmeal, the problem isn't the cinnamon. The problem is that you're eating oatmeal. Oatmeal is going to send your blood sugars through the roof. It just is. There's no amount of cinnamon is going to keep that your blood sugars down. It's like if you sprinkle cinnamon on your donut. It's come on. The problem's not the cinnamon. The problem is the donut.
Well, my wife did bring me an apple fritter the other day, and those do have cinnamon on them. So
it didn't help, did it? That's why you don't think the cinnamon thing works. It's because you're sprinkling on your donut, and you're like, my blood sugar still went up.
Right. Now you tell me, man.
That's good.
All right, let's land plane on this one, guys. I think we answered the question.
I think we did. Blood sugars and call
Love it. All right.
I feel like I am just at an always disadvantage here because we start this at 7:30, and I ate dinner an hour and a half ago.
Fair. Granted, I did eat dinner 45 minutes before.
Can you see it?
That's a little blurry. I can't see it
completely off.
Oh, it was 2:07. You're gonna have to take my word for it.
Fair. And I'm 246. Alex, you might have this one.
239. Arrow down, but
dang. Dude, nice. Old school finger sticks coming in for the win.
That's good. I like that.
Oh man. MDI and finger sticks, and I got the win.
Hey, that just shows that there is not a correct approach to managing diabetes.
Hey, there's a lot of,
and it also doesn't show that Nathan is actually 2 arrows up, and if he checks 5 minutes later, he'd be 420. But
no, I've been taking a finger stick every 20 minutes for the last 3 hours. I started at 240, and then I was 215, and now I'm 207. I think I was, and so I've got a slight arrow down.
Nice.
Man, okay. I was hoping for some level of win, but you got it again.
Even with finger sticks, man, I'm looking at trends. I don't care what the snapshot is.
Impressive. All right,
Brad.
Let's call
it,
guys.
All right,
y'all.
Peace.
Later.